I want to bring in my political panel for today. Jerome Laxwell is the Labor MP for Bennelong. Zoe McKenzie is the Shadow Assistant Minister for Education and Early Learning and a Liberal MP. Welcome to both of you.
Great to be here.
Zoe, it's all going to happen. Wednesday, you're all meeting for the Liberal party room, then the Shadow Cabinet meets, and then you might have to negotiate with the Nationals.
Indeed.
Obviously, there has to be a view. You've been a supporter of net zero by 2050.
I have.
So do you think you're going to win this one?
Yeah, look, I think it'll be a good debate. I'm glad we're having it next week. It's timely. I recently joined the working group and we've been working through many options and we'll see what comes out of that. What I do appreciate is that the conversations we've had both last week and this week have been excellent. I came out of that party room discussion on Friday probably more proud than I've been of my colleagues through the last term and this term, only because it was open, it was intelligent, it was persuasive. You had colleagues speak about the lived experience of what Labor's plan means for them. A powerful testimony in particular by Rick Wilson, who I think gave a similar speech in the chamber earlier this week. Just to explain, there have been 14 out of 16 nickel operations in his electorate closed. Hundreds of kilometres of productive agricultural land now being used for carbon sinks effectively. So it's good to hear what it means on the ground. We do not in any way endorse Labor's plan, and that's where our focus now needs to be.
Now, if you keep net zero and you're successful in your argument, because it's clear that's where you stand, what does that mean for your relationship with the Nationals? Are you prepared to walk away from that coalition?
Be clear, the Nationals are actually committed to Paris, which means net zero in the second half of this century at some point in time. We took a plan to get to net zero by 2050 using nuclear to the last election, and we still maintain all technology on the table and all energy types on the table.
Should it be on the table walking away from the Nationals if you can't come to an agreement?
But we may still get there by 2050 or shortly thereafter. But also, PK, you have to remember, 2 days ago, the UN Environment Programme released a study of where all the countries are up to in terms of achieving their net zero targets. It showed that 3 were on track to get there. The EU, the UK and possibly us. Everybody else is miles off. We are right to have a look at it and work out if we are doing the right thing for Australia, for jobs, for investment, for our competitiveness, and that's what we're doing.
All right, Jerome, I want to ask you a different question. No, it's too much of a free kick for you to let you talk about that.
She's done a great job in painting a pretty picture of a really terrible situation.
Well, the environment laws is what I want to ask you about. You've been passionate about them. So I'm going to ask you clearly, would you prefer a deal with the Greens, given the Liberals are pushing for some watering down of the environmental laws?
Well, I've said publicly and privately that I don't want to see Labor's laws gutted through the Senate. So that could be either with the Coalition or the Greens.
Well, given the demands we've already heard from both sides, what's your preference?
What we've seen both sides do is take it to the extremes. Let's not forget the Greens said initially that these laws were worse than the status quo, which is just absurd. Your interview with Graeme Samuel debunked that immediately. You then had the Liberals say, let's split the bills, which even the BCA said was also extreme. So they both take it to the extremes. Over the next 2 weeks, I'm very confident that Minister Watt will bring it back to the centre, and hopefully we get support for these laws, which are good laws. Why
do they have to be rushed through by the end of the year? Isn't it important to have a scrutiny and ensure the laws are at their best?
This has been ongoing for 5 years, Patricia.
Sure,
it's been a long time.
We've only seen the legislation for a week.
As Graeme Samuel said on your program, they're very faithful to his recommendations of the review from 5 years ago, which had a lot of consultation. The longer we go, the more our environment degrades.
Okay. I want to move the conversation to questions in relation to Susan Lee and her leadership, if we can, because the Minister for Women even said that she believes that women are being, held basically to a different standard. Susan Lee's leadership has been under pressure. You're a female MP in that party room. Do you think that she's being treated differently?
Oh, look, I know that Susan has a very different leadership style, but that's actually really welcome. She's very consultative. She's an excellent listener. She doesn't have that kind of crash and bash, chest-beating approach.
Well, who's had that before?
Anyway, she has none of that, right? And in that respect, it's really welcome. I'm hearing women in particular say to me, who used to vote for her, say, I'm really curious about Susan. I like the tone. I like her approach to issues. I like her more methodological way of going through things. Now, I know there's impatience and some people would like quick and easy answers, but I think she's doing a great job of actually listening to people and, as she said before, meeting Australians where they're at. So thinking about the cities as much as she thinks about the region, and frankly, that's really important for us to make a compelling case in 2028.
So is there a lot of blokes undermining her then?
No, I don't think so at all. I think there's obviously chatter amongst the colleagues because you see that in the media, but I think she's rising above it quite beautifully. Last night she had an amazing event with all the Liberal women staff in the building. They loved it. They loved having a leader who's a woman. They felt really enthusiastic for our future as a party and as a movement and for the role of women in it, both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes as well.
I have to ask you about your male colleagues and some of their views about Priya's bill.
Well, the good news is Priya's bill was passed.
What did you think of what they asked, what they raised in relation
to be fair,
to
I had a chat with them on the day when they said that this could happen, and I said, hey, I don't really know any women who do pursue abortions at the very last part of their pregnancy unless something's gone really badly wrong. And if something's gone really badly wrong, that is about empathy and consideration that they might be able to take their maternity leave. The suggestion, which I don't think was the suggestion I'm making, but it could be twisted this way, that somebody would fall pregnant and have an abortion just to get a year paid leave, no, that's not the way things work. Nevertheless, the bill has passed and I'm glad it has.
Jerome, that is important, and some significant Liberal women have spoken out. Do you think abortion should just not be being discussed at this federal level?
Well, I was in the chamber, the next to speak, straight after Andrew Hasey, who spoke after Tony Paston and Barnaby Joyce, and certainly on the government side, we were aghast that this would even come up. I tried to make it very clear to them that this bill was about Baby Priya and closing a loophole. And had they been attentive when the bill was introduced, they had Baby Priya's mother and father in the chamber. This was about nothing else. And shame on them for making it something that it wasn't.
We're out of time. Thank you. Have you survived the fortnight? Feeling good?
I've got a committee tomorrow. It's going to be a big day.
I know. I don't get home till Sunday either.
Yeah.
So back up the law.
Good to know, guys. That's afternoon briefing for today.